Hi, everybody. This presentation is called The Philanthropy Behind the United States Constitution. And the first question you're probably going to ask is, what is philanthropy? Now, philanthropy is a way of thinking. And in this thinking, you do things to help others and make the world a better place. And we all can do this through our actions and through our words, trying to make our world a better place. And the second question you're probably asking, what is the Constitution? Now, the Constitution is a piece of paper where our founding fathers many years ago wrote down the rules and the rights that apply to all Americans, including you and me. So, it's like rules to a game. Now, I think a lot of you play games, whether it's a board game or a video game or a sporting event, and all games have rules and all games have rights. And it's very important that games have rules and rights. And I want you to think about it. If you were to play a game, any game, and you didn't know what the rules were and you made them up as you went, it wouldn't end well. It would be very hectic. There'd be hurt feelings. There'd be people who would maybe cheat because there are no rules and rights. In a game, everybody gets a turn. In a game, everybody has an equal chance to win the game. So if you think about it, rules and rights are very important for games, but it's also very important for a country. That's why our Constitution is so important. It gives us rules and it gives us rights. And I mentioned a little bit ago about our founding fathers, and here's a picture of some of them. And you might recognize some of them from money, or you might have seen them in books, and you might be able to recognize this guy. His name was George Washington, and this is Thomas Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin, and James Madison. So these are people who lived a very long time ago, and you may or may not know their stories. But this is what the founding fathers were thinking. I think they had philanthropy in their mind. They wanted to make the world a better place, but not just their world. Their time in 1787, they wanted to help Americans in the future, just like you, just like me. And the way they made the world a better place was making a great constitution. So the question is, what does philanthropy have in common with our Constitution? Well, let's look and see. Little clue. A lot. All right. So the first part of our Constitution is called the preamble. And I like to think of it as our goals, what you hope to happen. And I think we all try to do the right things. And I think we all try to have goals to the way we live. And our founding fathers had a preamble, and it reads, "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." Well, what do you think these words mean? Perfect union, justice, domestic tranquility, general welfare, liberty, posterity. All right, I'm going to stop it here. Now stop. Your teacher's going to stop this now so you can talk. Okay, did you stop it? All right, come on, stop. Stop. All right, stop. All right, well, I hope you and your teacher had a good talk. And now I'm going to tell you what I think they mean. Now, perfect union. That means as a country, we are all together and we want to make it the best country possible. Now, how do we do that? Well, there's a lot of ways we do it, but I think a good way we do it is that we work together and care for each other, and that's going to create a better country for all of us. Justice. Justice to me means that it's fair, that you treat people equally, that you treat people with respect, and that everybody gets a fair shake to be heard. That's justice. Domestic tranquility to me means peace, and I don't think anybody wants anything but peace, to live in safety and live happily. To me, that's domestic tranquility. General welfare, to me, that means what's good for the whole, what's good for the most people. Are we making decisions that make things better for everybody? Liberty, do we have the freedom to do what we want as long as we don't hurt other people? Should we be free to wear the clothes that we want, and wear our hair like we want, and play the games that we want, and do the activities that we want. To me, that's liberty. Now, posterity means the future. And if I use philanthropy and do the right things and make the world a better place, I will make it a better world for the people who come after me in the future. So that's what it means to me. It might mean something different to you, but our founding fathers were aware of the future and were hoping to give us these things in the future. Now, the second part is the rules. Those are the rules. They're in 7 parts. These are called Roman numerals: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we're going to focus on 3 here. Now, the rules are I want you to think of them as a tree, the branches of government. The legislative branch, they make the rules. The executive branch makes sure people follow the rules. And judicial branch, if there's people who don't agree with each other, help people work out their disagreements. And we call this checks and balances. So not one group is all powerful. So there are people who make the laws. And if people don't follow the laws, well, they have to be enforced. If these are disagreed about or they're unsure of how to look at it, our judges interpret the laws. And all 3 of these branches attempt to help the most people as possible. When our legislative branch, our lawmakers, are trying to make good laws that apply to the people, they're trying to help as many people as possible. If the police catch a bad guy and take this bad guy away, they're trying to protect the people who are following the laws. They're trying to make the world a better place. Judges do their best to listen to both sides and make their decisions to help people as much as possible. So our founding fathers understood philanthropy, and they tried to create a country where the most people were helped. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Now, the third part of our Constitution is called the Bill of Rights. I like to think of it as gifts from our founding fathers, and we all have these rights. The First Amendment, now the first 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights. Now there's 27. Now the first 10 are called the Bill of Rights. And the First Amendment is you can speak your mind. You can say what you'd like to say. You can go to any house of worship or none at all that you choose to go to. As an American, you can go worship freely however you would like to. You can read the books and the internet sites that you want to. Nobody can tell you what you can or cannot read. You can gather with the people you want to be with. You don't have to be with people you're forced into. You can choose in your own time to be with those you want to. And if you have a problem with our government, it's okay to say so, to say, hey, I don't agree with this, or I have a different opinion. And that's what our First Amendment gives us. Our Second Amendment allows us to choose a firearm if you want to. If you don't want a firearm, you don't have to. And that allows people who like to hunt, and so on and so forth. Our Third Amendment, the military can never come into our homes. You are safe in your home, and you will never have the Army show up and say, hello, we're going to use your house because we need it. That will never happen in this country because of our Third Amendment. We can feel safe in this fact. Fourth Amendment, privacy. You have privacy, and the government respects your privacy. Privacy is a wonderful thing, and that's protected in our Fourth Amendment. The Fifth Amendment, everybody has the same rights in the eyes of our government. Everybody. We call it due process, that the government sees everybody as equal, and we all have access to the rights of our government. And everybody's allowed to work for a good life, to be free and gain property. That's our Fifth Amendment. Now, the Sixth and Seventh Amendments are very similar. But if you are accused of doing something wrong, somebody says you did something wrong, you can defend yourself, and people called a jury, these are regular people similar to you, will decide whether you did right or whether you did wrong. And the Sixth and Seventh Amendment gives us this right. Now, the Eighth Amendment is if you do something wrong, the punishment will fit what you did and not be too mean. And sometimes we do things wrong. Sometimes we make a mistake. But punishments shouldn't be so harsh and so mean that it's a lot worse than what you did. So let's look at ourselves. If we did something wrong, okay, we did something wrong. We probably deserve a punishment, but it can't be too mean. And that's what the Eighth Amendment gives us. Now, the Ninth Amendment says there are other rights that may exist that haven't been thought about yet. There might be something in the future that you're going to need to have a right. And just because it's not mentioned in our Constitution doesn't mean you won't have access to it when it comes. So the Ninth Amendment shows that our founding fathers thought about the future, about what the future would hold and what rights people would need in the future. Now, the 10th Amendment, the final amendment of our Bill of Rights, the first 10, says there's certain areas that are controlled by different areas. So our post office, the federal government, America controls the post office. The Army, it's the U.S. Army. Some things they let the states control, like a driver's license, Michigan driver's license, not U.S. driver's license, not your city's driver's state. Some things are local, like your city, where they make decisions about, things like how many dogs you can own, how tall your fences can be. So we divide power based upon who knows it best, and that's our 10th Amendment. Now, the last part, the other 17 amendments, there were some good things we did. We corrected some mistakes. Our founding fathers were human. They made some mistakes in the Constitution, and a lot of these were corrected. At this point, as I speak to you, all citizens have rights. All citizens have access to the same rights. Everybody over 18 can vote. And the most recent amendment was added in 1992. That's not that long ago. And here's a question I want to ask you. Well, do you think there's going to be more amendments in your lifetime? And here's the thinking part. When I'm done talking, I want you to figure this one out. If you were to add a new amendment to our Constitution, what do you think it should be? And there's no right or wrong here. I just want to see if you can think and come up with something very, very cool. Because the beautiful thing about our Constitution, it can be changed when the people want it to be changed, and that's the beauty of it. Now here's some interesting facts to end off our little presentation. The Constitution only contains 4,440 words. That's not that many words. All the delegates were never together in the same room. So it was people would travel and come and go, but they were never together in the same room. Benjamin Franklin was the oldest person to sign it at 81 years old. Jonathan Dayton, the youngest, at 26. Benjamin Franklin was so old, he needed help physically signing it as tears streamed down his face because he realized the gift he was giving to the future. He realized he was making the world a better place with this document. One of the last things he ever did on earth was sign the Constitution. George Washington, our first president, proclaimed the first Thanksgiving on November 26, 1789, to give thanks for the Constitution. It took exactly 100 days to frame the Constitution, and there was a man named Jacob Shallis who was hired to write the copy of the Constitution. He was paid $30, which is $661 today, which I will take. That's a good amount of money today. So, to wrap up, what did you learn from this presentation? Now think about it. What is philanthropy? What is the Constitution? Who are our founding fathers? What is the preamble? What are the articles? What are the Bill of Rights? What are some of the highlights of the other 17 amendments? Things to think about. Now your teacher is going to give you an assignment on paper for you to keep learning about philanthropy and our Constitution. And I really appreciate you for watching, and I hope that you go out there and make the world a better place every chance you get.